Maynard, one of the abundance of Dutch players involved this weekend, as well as the seeded players, Watemena and also Michael van Gerwen, of course. We've got the 5 host nation qualifiers, and then through the European Tour card holders qualifiers, we had Vincent van der Voort, we had Barneveld, we had Danny Noppert as well, so there is a large orange presence in the field this weekend, which is great to see, of course.
Should have bought an orange carpet for this one, instead of the usual red, which always matches the shirt of Mickey Mansell.
56.
He's the most coordinated Euro Tour guy I know. Tricky shot, this one, but that is 1 out of 3. Almost got the middle stump. No shot at tops, which would have been a shot at his favourite double. He has left it. In case Kyle can't take this 108. Going up top for it. A lot of people like the 19s on it these days, but he's going to go for the open beds. Double top. That is lethal from Anderson. What a start.
Second leg is Mickey to throw first. Game on.
Out of the traps very nicely indeed. Kyle Anderson, a 108 checkout. No messing around there. 180 on the way as well to that opening leg. Stylishly done by Kyle Anderson. Good to see him back on the European Tour. As I said, just the 2 previous appearances this year. And he didn't really make significant inroads in either of them as well. It was a second round defeat by Daryl Gurney at the German Darts Grand Prix. And then at the German Open, it was a first round defeat against Jeffrey de Zwaan.
No shame in getting beaten by de Zwaan this season, the way he's playing, that's for sure.
Well, no, but for Mickey Mansell, who himself is looking at a ton 80 here, there was no disgrace in a 6-5 defeat by Mansell in the German Open, but the first round defeat he had in Hildesheim against Stefan Zietman was very forgettable as far as he's concerned.
Yeah, Kyle's got a lot of fans among the players. He's very popular, probably because he's got an outrageous sense of humour, and he's always smiling and giggling, and that's what people like when you're spending a lot of time on the road. Getting to Zwolle, it was a flight or a train
94.
or a long car ride. So when you're spending time with a lot of players, you want to be around people that you like, and a lot of people really enjoy the company of Kyle Anderson. Mickey's doing very well at the start of this match. He's playing sneaky Mickey. He's just going under the radar a little bit, and he looks really accurate today.
Yeah, he's always got what I call the nuisance factor, has Mickey Mansell. Sometimes he turns up, you're never quite sure what you're going to get, but he's a very committed player, and as you say, slowly but stealthily goes about his business as he is doing here. Double 4, having found that treble 18. 62 checkout to level things up. Nicely done.
Yeah, very nicely done. And I think if Kyle was watching that closely enough, he will know now that he's going to have to play really well to beat Mickey today. And he may well have to play really well with Simon Whitlock in the first round of the World Cup, which is coming up, because they're playing against the Finns, and that is not an easy draw. Not that there are easy draws, but this World Cup is going to deliver. It's got so many great matches in the first round, and it's the most open one of all time. So yeah. Australia, no one's talking about them, but everybody thinks that potentially someone's going to come out the pack and win it.
45.
Yeah, and the fun starts 2 weeks' time in Hamburg, the World Cup of Darts. No doubt the Dutch will be firm favourites, although it's not the Van Gerwen Barney combination, it's Van Gerwen and Jermaine Watemena.
Yeah, they're playing the Spaniards, which is a very, very difficult match. It's going to be Reyes and Alcinas. So can Spain do to the Netherlands what Spain did to the English back in 2010? But the English have got the Philippines in the first round, and that is not an easy match. I really do fear for the Austrians, though. They may have Mensah Sulevic, but I think their tie against the Russians, that's a bit of a banana skin for me.
Yeah. Mansell gets himself into position beautifully with that ton 80 to leave 41. This is a potential 11-dart break for Mickey Mansell.
41.
Not sneaky good, just very good.
Just very
Mickey
good.
Mansell.
No two ways about it. Tops this time.
Yeah, on the third leg.
Bang in
Mickey
the middle
Mansell.
of that double 10 bed, and it just had
Well,
to
ladies
be
and
as well
Mickey to
because
throw
Anderson
first.
was ready to pounce on
Game on.
87. So a 12 darter, and it's Mansell who's in front with the break of throw.
I'm not really going to go up to Mickey Mansell and call him a nuisance, but I can say from experience, I played him on the European Tour at Sindelfingen once, and he beat me. And
60.
he can just annoy you on a dartboard by being so good and so deliberate. I've got so much respect for Mickey. I've played him many, many times. And I think
83.
he is very underrated.
Well, he said himself, you know, he's had some great results against some of the best players in the world, so he's got the experience. And he's got the mentality as well to beat players who are at the top table.
I'll tell you one thing, Rob, I wouldn't want to have a
60.
cycle race with him. He is very good on the old peddler. He can go for miles. Loves to cycle, does Mickey. That beautiful Northern Irish countryside.
180.
Anderson is pedalling fast to try and keep pace with Mickey Mansell here as well, and he has to.
Can you imagine Mickey Mansell in his biking get-ups?
I can, yeah. Do you know what? He looks like a cyclist as well. Very. Well, he's got the frame for it, shall we say.
Or going to Costa for a pre-cycle coffee. One of those types.
Kyle did not like that first dart, and that second dart hasn't really done him any favours either.
78.
But that final dart does get him down to a finish of 160.
That's someone who knows his apples, because that switch to the 18s, he knew that would leave a finish if he could hit it. And he's put himself in the right spot here.
100.
Now he's got 6 darts from 160 to get himself level and break back.
Yeah, and that final dart from Anderson really put Mansell under a spot of, well, under a bit of pressure there.
I love the switch to the 18s there. That's really good board knowledge, because he knows that 254s leave 32, but 82 is very doable when he returns. That's the worst dart that Mickey's thrown in this match, and he's just jumping on a couple of darts now. He's got to stay rooted,
44.
make sure that that dart doesn't leave the hand too late.
Yeah, he needs to maybe just put this leg behind him and move on from this, because it's just unravelled here, and Anderson's looking good now for a instant break back with double 16, now looking at double 8 for 2-2.
Yeah, on the
And
fourth
that's a
leg,
really good
Kyle
response by
Anderson.
Kyle Anderson there.
Fifth leg, it's Kyle to throw first.
All stemming, I think, from that
Game
treble
on.
18. That was the turning point in that leg.
Yeah, very much so. And every dart player in the world loves a bullseye on an 82. You can see from
93.
the side angle there, the grip of Kyle Anderson, it engages with pretty much all of the barrel, and he uses the point as well. It's a very long point. Mickey, you can see a lot of that dart is protruding from his hand.
55.
He holds it towards the end of the barrel. But you can see the fingers all the way up the barrel and the stem there for Kyle. Turns it to the side and then auto-corrects it as he throws it forward. It's a very Ronnie Baxter type action, but it's very effective.
Yeah, if you were putting together a manual of how to throw a dart, it would perhaps not be on the front page, but clearly is very effective for him.
140.
I think it's watchable though. There's a lot of styles out there that you think, yeah, it's okay, it's effective, but I don't like watching it. But there's something about the way Kyle throws a dart that's very, very watchable.
And he's just repositioned himself there as
58.
well, right over to the left-hand side of the oche, just to try and find a way through.
He scored 38 with the first two, and he needed a 60 to leave 170, so he had to create an angle. And he's one of those players, I think one of 3 players that utilise the dart angles better than
30.
anybody in the world. You've got Kyle, you've got Whitlock, and after a certain double 12 last night from Daryl Gurney, there was the proof that he's one who likes to slide them down the whole dart.
138.
Mickey seems to have just taken his foot off the pedal a little bit in the last couple of legs.
I was just going to say as well, looking at the first dart average, the first dart average is significantly lower than the third dart average, and once again the
54.
first dart was
Value requires
one that went
72.
astray there into that single 5, or in other cases into the treble 5 bed as well. Yeah, just checking. So tops for Anderson.
Game on the fifth leg, Kyle Anderson. Sixth leg is Mickey.
I love how he
to throw
checks
first.
with the referee
Game
on the fly. So he's actually checking as he's throwing dart 2.
Didn't break his stride at all.
So imagine if Kyle's asked, is that a single? And it's actually a treble. And he's going for another single 16, but then he needs double 12. I think he's the only person in the world who does a check with the referee on the fly. Now, he has said in the past, because he has had trouble with his eyesight, that seeing the shots sometimes is difficult for him. Nothing difficult about that one. I think Kyle Anderson and Ryan Searle are peas in a pod when it comes to the eyesight stakes in darts. It's not about what they can see, it's about the feel. They are field players, and they can pretty much hit 60s with their eyes closed.
Yeah, it's all about muscle repetition with the majority of players.
60.
Strictly speaking, they're not actually aiming with their eyes. It's all about the muscle memory in that arm of theirs. 5 1/8s in this match so far. 3 for Anderson, 2 for Mickey Mansell. The finishing has been of the highest order as well. 3 from 4 against 2 from 3. Just one missed dart at double for each of these two players.
Mickey would be devastated to be 3-2 down, considering he was averaging 111 after a couple of legs.
Yeah, and given the way he's been finishing as well when he has got the opportunity, he'll be disappointed that his average is only 94 as well. Often it's the finishing stats that embellishes the averages overall. First dart this time was the required product, but he
81.
fails to back it up on this occasion. It's all role reversal now for Mickey Mansell.
Yeah, that one has gifted 6 darts from 161 to Kyle. Now he's got to use the board again because that 60 is well and truly blocked.
64.
That'll do. Now Mansell is thinking one number only, and that's 139, to put the most possible pressure on Kyle. He's got to get that 9 off, I feel. Got to go 19s here.
59.
Well, okay, he's left himself Shanghai, but Anderson potentially 2 darts away from a 4-2 lead. It would be significant daylight for the first time. That's treble 3 instead. So now looking at 88s.
He's 32,
65.
and that's decent. But
120.
the worrying thing for Kyle here is that Mickey loves tops. He loves everything to do with the 20s, but can he get himself a 60 with dart 2?
Yes, he can.
Yeah, on the sixth
And
leg.
sure as night follows day as well.
Leg is Kyle to throw
Mansell
first.
finds double 20 as you suggested he would, Paul, and it is a Shanghai takeout for Mickey Mansell and Kyle Anderson. You just saw his reaction once that treble 20 went in. He feared the worst as well. He couldn't bear to watch.
85.
And we are level again at 3 apiece. It's a good match, this. It's absorbing, and it's one of those that just seems to be on a knife edge from the word go.
Well, as a dart player, I've stood on the back of the stage many times
100.
expecting an opponent to hit something. And the majority of players will say the same. They expect these quality guys to take out shots like that. I'm not sure how much of that tops Mickey Mansell could see, but he had enough clearance with this loopy dart that he throws to go over the top of the 20. And again, a field dart for a double that he really enjoys. And a little grimace from Mickey there says there's just been too many 1s and 5s in this match for him. Kyle was slightly more impressive in qualifying. He had a 102 average against Mark Wilson.
92.
He won 6-3 there, and he had another 6-3 against James Richardson, where he averaged 92. But a 95 and a 90 average for Mickey against Wayne Jones and James Wilson, respectively, where he won 6-1 and 6-4. But when someone averages over 100 in qualifying, you feel that they're going to have a pretty good chance of getting here.
Yeah.
Surely he's going to go at the treble 18 segment there.
138.
Now, 271, this is a great example of how people have changed in the counting stakes in the last few years. There's a lot of people now who go 19s first on 271.
You require 52.
Because you go single 19, you go for 25, then a 60. Gives you the most possible outs to leave a finish. It doesn't matter though, because Kyle has got double 10 for 4-3.
Game on the 7th leg, Kyle Anderson.
Well, we are back on throw now. We've had one break apiece, but we are back on throw, and that is something that may well prove significant in the final reckoning as well. Just looking at Anderson's record this year as well, it's interesting that he made 3 quarter-finals in the first 6 Pro Tour events of 2019, but since then he's not done a great deal. He's only gone beyond round 2 on a couple of occasions. Made the 3rd round at Players' Championship 14 and 15. I think he'll be... You know, he'll
41.
feel as though he's got something to prove there as well. He'll want to address that in the 6 remaining Pro Tour events.
I'm determined to do some really in-depth research about Kyle's form since he turned professional, because I'm pretty certain that the majority of his good form comes after he's been home to see his family. I think there are periods of, say, you know, after 2 months of being in the UK away from his little boy and his other half, that he really starts to struggle. And I think now that he's been back to Australia to come back to work now, I think he'll be dangerous over the next 4 weeks, especially potentially today, this weekend, and in Denmark, and at the World Cup, because he'll be refreshed and he'll have all of those home memories in his mind as inspiration, because he takes inspiration from his family and his brother Bo, who I'm sure he had a throw with when he went back home. Bo's a very good player.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a good point, that, Paul, actually. It might well have just cleared his mind a little bit and just settled him down and just helped him refocus.
97.
I think dart players who are in the same sort of position as Kyle in the top 32 don't take enough breaks. I think they play too much. They have to have that 1 week off here, and they concentrate on just playing too much.
64.
And they become tired.
Van Gerwen always seems a different beast as well when he's come back off a holiday as well.
Correct.
I remember once when he went to somewhere in the Caribbean over the course of the winter, in between the Players' Championship finals and the World Championship, and it just did him a world of good.
Yeah,
that has just done Mickey Mansell the world of good. Another top shot from him. Gets him to 4 each. Steve Beaton's the one, isn't he? He always goes on holiday before the Worlds. That was his routine. And Van Gerwen has already said that he's not going to be taking part in Denmark. He's going to be taking that week off to have a break with his family after the World Cup. And who blames him after what's been a very fruitful May?
I mean, we talk all the time about game management, but there's a lot to be said for managing your schedule as well. And making sure that you do set aside the time whenever you can. It's a very busy schedule, of course, for darts players, especially those who are involved in the Premier League and the World Series. They've got very few opportunities to squeeze in the downtime. But it's all, well, it's an integral part of the calendar, really.
I'd be interested to see how the calendar evolves in the next few seasons. We do have PDC board member here this weekend in Rod Harrington, who
97.
Sneakily might pop into the commentary box at one point, so you've got to stay tuned for that one.
Wow. That is enticing. Great to have Rod back this weekend. It was great to catch up with him last night. I did have a quick word with him at the Players' Awards dinner in January when he was inducted into the Hall of Fame, which I thought was a very well-deserved accolade as well for the former world #1.
I agree.
60.
And everything he's done
167.
as part of the PDC board as well.
And all of the stuff that he's going to do,
and
I'm
all
sure.
the stuff that he's going to do. Big advocate of the youth development
127.
The conveyor belt of talent that we see that continues to be churned out.
I think it's fair to say he's done quite well with that, hasn't he? Considering the talent that we've got in the game. And we're going to see Harry Ward the end of the afternoon playing against Danny Noppert. And Harry Ward is the newest winner on tour, and he's only 21.
Yeah, he's a player who just embodies everything about the success of this tiered system, this format that's in place. Anderson looking at double 10, though, for a 5-4 lead before we get sidetracked too much.
30.
He's invited Mickey Mansell in for
60.
something very similar to the 120 he hit earlier in the match. Needs 2 trebles, though. how he can't get there, and Kyle cannot afford to miss this opportunity.
100. Call you require 10.
The perils of double five, though, for Anderson, with Mansell ready to pounce on 60.
This is a big double.
And he has come inside as well, but it was with the final dart, and it might not matter too much in the final reckoning, because Mansell's looking at 60 now, and he loves that tops, as we said earlier.
We've already talked backstage today about the difference in the final in the Premier League last night was the missed 36 and the 74 checkout from Van Gerwen. Well, that could be the turning point in this match. Missed darts at the tops, 10s, 5s for Kyle, and Mansell takes out 60 and 2.
Perfect time to break for Mickey Mansell for a second time in this match. He had the 12-dart break in leg 3 for a 2-1 lead, but that is far more significant. And once again, the finishing stats really bearing up to a lot of scrutiny, really standing up to a lot of scrutiny as well. 5 out of 6 for Mickey Mansell, although Anderson has dipped from a very healthy return of 4 from 5 to 4 from 12.
It's been a steady match.
100.
A lot of 15s in there. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. But the standout statistic, you're absolutely right, Rob. 83%. Every player in the world would take that. No exceptions.
Yeah, he was 3 from 4 was Anderson. He's now 4 from 12.
81.
And that has coincided with Mickey Mansell just being able to maintain those levels, and also I think to a large degree he's also sorted out his scoring as well, certainly on the first dart. Just had a few wobbles, a few issues with those over the course of the midway points of this match when he found himself 3-2 down, but those two things allied together have really got himself into a strong position now.
If Kyle doesn't get 2 treble visit the next time round, he may need a mistake from Mickey to give himself the opportunity to win this match.
100.
I feel he's got to get 161 or better here. He can easily hit another 60.
100.
But needed a bit more power behind that third dart.
Still Mansell with the advantage here, you feel, if he can get below a ton with this visit. It would be Mansell very much in pole position.
He's not going to move.
100.
He'd rather have that 120 than maybe hitting a treble 19 or a treble 18. I think that was smart.
Yeah, he'll fancy his chances with that. And he's got a little bit more leeway now as well.
85. Mickey require 120.
How big is that 60 going to be for Kyle? Because by hitting that 60, he's got himself ahead of Mickey. And if Mickey doesn't take this Shanghai out, Kyle's got something a lot easier than what he should have had. It may not be of any consequence.
Same order as before.
100.
But that was a long way south of the wire.
116.
And Mickey Mansell, yeah, little wonder he's blowing out the cheeks there. Single 5 for Anderson. Yeah,
42.
the treble 17 would have left
20.
an opportunity, would have left him tops, but it's not to be, and Mansell has a let-off. That first dart for Anderson was a killer. And he's returning this time looking at double 10 for a 6-4 win. Could be a good day for the island of Ireland, with Willie O'Connor having won in the first match of the day. And Mickey Mansell, yes, it's gone in, Mickey. Strain your neck all you like, but it has found its way into the top right-hand corner. And Mickey Mansell does wrap up a 6-4 win. A come-from-behind victory as well for the Ulsterman. And the Cyclone breezes his way into the second round to face Ian White, the number 2 seed, tomorrow. 3-2 down. He was in a spot of bother, Mickey Mansell, but he comes through for a 6-4 win against the original.
Congratulations. Well, Mickey, like I say, I think the 120 did make the difference in this match, wasn't it?
Yeah, kind of I think I snatched at it a wee bit, and it went in at a few snatchy darts there. First game's always a lot of tension, and I did feel as the technique wasn't there on the 120. On the treble it was, but on the tops it went in a wee bit like a double 10 too. I didn't think it was in either. Only Kirk said it game shot, but sometimes you need a wee bit of luck on a kind of shoulder. It's not that technically it's not the way to throw darts, but sometimes you get a wee bit of fortune, you know.
Tomorrow you're playing the number 2 seed, the man in form, 3 Euro Tour finals in a row, Ian White. How's your record against him?
I don't know, to be honest. I know my record against a good few players, but no, I wouldn't be. I don't know about Ian, to be honest. But he's fantastic, I have to say. I was glad for him last weekend, whenever he won the European event, because like to get to the finals and produce the darts that he's been doing, you kind of deserve that wee bit of reward. It's not guaranteed on. Sometimes players don't always get it, but Ian has put in a shift this last 2 or 3 years. Probably hasn't got all the things that he deserves in the bigger picture, but I was glad that he won it last week. And look, sure, I go up and try my best and see what happens.
You're going to get a reward as well, because you're going to stay an extra day in Zwolle. Ladies and gentlemen, dames en heren, geef hem hartelijk applaus. Morgen zien we hem terug, Mickey Mansell. En wij